We're going to turn now to the economy. Stocks had a bit of a bumpy day today, but closed pretty much where they started as investors seem to shake off the news over the weekend after one of the big three credit rating agencies, Moody's, downgraded the U.S.'s credit rating one notch off its AAA rating, citing a rise in debt. The other two major rating agencies, Standard & Poor's and Fitch, had already downgraded the U.S. credit rating in 2011 and 2023, respectively. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent downplayed Moody's decision yesterday on Meet the Press.
Who cares? Qatar doesn't, Saudi doesn't, UAE doesn't. They're all pushing money in. Moody's is a lagging indicator. I think that's what everyone thinks of credit agencies. Larry Summers and I don't agree on everything, but he said that when they downgraded the U.S. in 2011. So it's a lagging indicator.
NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans joins me now. Is the Treasury Secretary right? Moody's downgrade of the U.S. credit rating isn't that big of a deal? We shouldn't care?
I mean, 2011, then 2023, and then now it tells you that the country's fiscal health has been going in the wrong direction for a really long time. So lagging indicator maybe, but it is a warning sign, quite frankly, that the United States does not have its financial house in order and hasn't for a really long time. And there will be a price to pay for that. Look, this could mean higher borrowing costs down the road. Indeed, we saw the 30-year Treasury touch 5%. That's something that hasn't happened in a couple of years. And look at it this way, Ryan. When you have one of every $7 the United States government spends is to pay interest on its debt. And that's only getting bigger and bigger. It crowds out other spending. It's a dangerous position to be in long term, right in the middle of a big spending bill negotiation, by the way.
Yeah. And you mentioned the fact that these other rating agencies had already downgraded the U.S. credit rating. Why did it take Moody so long?
You know, when you go from AAA to AA1, I mean, that's going from an A+ to an A. When you think about it, the U.S. is still the best economy in the world, the biggest economy in the world, and the most reliable investment, right? The United States really is the most reliable investment. But Moody's had been the last to kind of come off that perfect score. And, you know, we've had other brinksmanships over the debt ceiling that have caused other agencies to make their downgrades in years past. Moody's finally coming around to it, just looking honestly at the length of time that the debt and deficit problem has been building and finally thrown in the towel.
And the other development over the weekend, President Trump urged Walmart to eat some of the tariffs on Chinese imports on Saturday. He said Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout their chain. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, but the Treasury Secretary as well agreed that they should eat some of these tariffs. Listen to what he had to say.
I was on the phone with Doug McMillon, the CEO of Walmart, yesterday, and Walmart is, in fact, going to, as you describe it, eat some of the tariffs.
I mean, there's so many different ways. I mean, first of all, I wonder what Donald Trump would have thought when he was a private businessman and if a president had told him to eat higher and increased costs. But doesn't this also undermine the Trump administration's argument that foreign governments are the ones that pay these tariffs?
Yeah, Ryan, I'm old enough to remember when it was a Democratic administration trying to get companies not to pass on higher prices to fight inflation. That was called socialist. And now we've got a Republican administration that's literally calling up companies and telling them how they want prices to be set, something that would just never correspond with Republican orthodoxy in any other time in recent history. But you're right. I mean, the company had said, Walmart had said, look, 30% tariffs on China, even the 10% tariffs on Central America, for example, they're already passing on higher prices for bananas. The United States doesn't grow bananas. So we've got a tariff on something the U.S. doesn't grow. And a lot of retailers just don't square with how that fits into the president's, rehome manufacturing. We're not going to be growing a bunch of bananas. But you're also right that, Walmart is a capitalist company. If it were to eat all of the tariffs, it would shrink its profit margins, right? And then what happens? Then maybe it hires less. Maybe it expands less. So no matter what, this is just the system that we have here. And to have, we're going to hear from a lot more retailers this week, by the way. And I think you're going to hear other retailers say that they have to pass on higher prices as well.
Okay, Christine Romans, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.